Here's part 2 of my interview with Jon Edwards, and in this one we cover his Biofill EV charger. So here we are for part 2 of this firsts for Jon. Now, this the electric truck around Australia, he's only just done, but he had some of these installed, and basically it was Biofill. He developed a system to use waste chip oil at roadhouses to generate power to charge your electric vehicle. Because some of these roadhouses, they don't have chargers out there. And they weren't interested at first.
Right.
So you developed this, well, it was a couple of years ago now, wasn't it?
Yeah, so the Kaiguna unit has been 3 years in January.
3 years almost. Wow.
It's done 600 hours of charging.
600 hours. That's 200 hours
Per year.
per year,
Yeah,
which is 4 hours a week, give or take.
roughly.
And how long does it take to charge a car on it? I mean, what can it chuck out?
50 kilowatts.
50 kilowatts?
So mostly they're there for an hour.
Yeah, so
Right.
that would be 2 to 5 cars a week
Yeah,
charging up.
absolutely.
I mean, that's just amazing. And I expect that its usage is actually climbing as more
is.
cars are doing it.
It is, and Kaiguna's main problem now is it hasn't got enough chip oil. There's more
People eat more chips at Kaiguna, so they've got more chip oil.
That's been the problem. They keep running it out of fuel because so many EVs are going across the Nullarbor. So
Yeah. I remember when you first developed it, I came around to your place and you were just trying to work it out and charge, and I plugged my car in. You wanted a few people to come and top
right.
up. And that was, 3 odd years ago.
So that testing, we proved that we had a Tesla show up every hour for 8 hours straight, and we ran the thing flat out one weekend on diesel, and then the following weekend we did exactly the same
on chip
veg
oil. Yes, veggie oil.
Yeah, and
The waste chip oil.
and there's only 5% difference in that chip oil is the same as diesel in terms of energy. It's
So,
fantastic.
and the interesting thing is that all these roadhouses, what do they do with the chip oil? They've got to change it on a regular basis.
They chuck it in the creek.
And they pour it away, they dig a hole, or it gets burnt.
Yeah, chuck it on the burn heap or chuck it in the creek. So for me, it was a no-brainer. 60 litres, 80 litres a week of fuel, quite suitable.
Which is basically free. I mean, it's a waste product that would get dumped, being used to generate power. I know there's a lot of people were, oh, look at this, he's burning his stuff to charge his car. But it's a waste product
waste.
being used for good.
Yeah.
Powered by waste cooking oil.
Yeah.
It is just a mind-blowing idea that you came up with. You even got them, they just pour the chip oil in, it gets filtered
Yeah.
so that it's clean, otherwise the generator gets a bit upset, doesn't it, with dirty fuel?
It settles. So it's roughly a settling period of about 2 weeks. So it goes into a first stage tank, which is static. It's full all the time. And the new oil goes to the bottom. It's forced to go to the bottom through a pipe. So when you tip it in, it goes to the bottom. And the oil that's been settling decants across into the fuel storage tank.
Right.
And it's just like, once it gets into there, it's clear. It's ready to go back in the fryer. It's really good. But it goes straight in the engine and burns just like diesel. Yeah.
And, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, it's got First Electric Truck. It's and some of his sponsors on his electric truck, I forgot to cover those. You had a few sponsors, didn't you? So, I mean, CD Dodd.
CD Dodd, great. Chris Dodd, supporter of lots of initiatives and things.
He's put decent chargers in his two workplaces.
He's fantastic.
And allows people to come and use them. He's a great supporter of the EV community.
Yeah, so Chris Dodd helped us a little bit. Mark Conacher, who's a Model X guy, he's got a couple of Macca's stores. This is not Macca's corporate, this is a Macca's store owner.
Yeah, it's not the corporate McDonald's.
It's one of the franchisees, and so he helped us a bit. the haven't got the sign on here. It's on the truck. The vet in Wyala.
Yeah, now he's actually got is it 50 or
75.
75 kilowatt DC fast charger installed in the car park at his place.
Yes.
Because he drives an EV.
Yes, and all the people in his practice have got EVs, and he's convinced 50 people in Wyala
to buy an EV. Yeah, if you want me to treat your dog, buy an EV.
And he's very enthusiastic. So he helped us a little bit, and then I gave him a day on the way back from Adelaide to Perth. I stopped and gave him a day, so we had a bit of a gathering of a few EVs. Very good. And then Horizon, of course, have helped us by providing a Charge Fox card for the trip, which is, we used a bit. Over in the eastern states, Charge Fox not so much, but over here in South Australia, definitely Charge Fox was pretty useful. And so that's that was the supporters for that trip. Yeah, fantastic.
So I mean, you've sold one or provided one for Horizon, which is up
Wim Creek,
somewhere up northern Western Australia, Port Hedland area.
Yeah.
And you're doing up another one because they possibly might want to put this one in somewhere.
Yeah.
Are they buying it off you? Or
no. So that one at Wim Creek's on a rental basis, and they wanted it for 3 or 4 months because the charger that they're installing there is behind schedule, and they've got contractual requirements to deliver. So they wanted that on a temporary basis. But I'm predicting, several of the chargers, like Fitzroy Crossing and these places, been vandalised, not working. So,
and you're actually creating this to sort of be a bit more vandal proof. You've got to undo the thing and take the cable out and put it back and lock it up, and the control buttons behind a panel, and these will be put hopefully at some roadhouses.
Well, I'm hoping the idea of these things is to, when something gets vandalised, whoever's going out there to check out what's wrong takes one of these with it and puts it there, so the EV community can continue to charge while we're waiting for parts.
They'll need a truck for that, because it's not a light one.
Yeah.
You couldn't have a couple of strapping lads lift it up. You need a forklift or a crane or something.
Yeah, so that's what they did at Wim Creek. They took it out on a crane truck and
about high cabs or something with a little crane to lift. High abs, that's the one. And that would lift it, would it?
Yeah.
And it comes in a couple of units. You've got this unit and then the diesel oil or the chip oil.
Fuel skid, So 2 lifts, connect everything up with quick couplers, turn it on, and away she goes. So straight away charging EVs.
And these, I mean, the one at Wim Creek isn't at a roadhouse, so you put 80 litres or whatever of chip oil in there.
No, I put a 1,000 litre tank there.
1,000 litres, sorry. That will probably do them for a few months.
Yeah. Well, there's not as much traffic on that route as there is going across the Nullarbor. Lots of people going east-west, right? But up north is probably less. But I calculated that it should last them about 4 months, and that's what they wanted.
And then they just got to either have the one that they're getting installed or another 1,000 litres of...
Send another bucket of 1,000 litres up there, So...
Yeah, that's amazing. And this one, hopefully, will be going into one where there's a roadhouse, and then they'll get to use their chip oil. While I've got you here, can you please click that like and subscribe button, pretty please? So what I would like to see at these roadhouses is massive solar panels charging a battery to charge cars and power for the roadhouse.
Yeah.
And at night, obviously, if you stick a big enough battery, they can run their systems 24/7, charge cars 24/7. And so on. But in the meantime, something like this is a brilliant thing, and it stops that waste chip oil being chucked in the ground somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, you say they pour it in the creek? That's illegal, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know for sure, but whenever you go to these roadhouses, they usually got tanks and tanks of it sitting around, right? So,
they have, yeah. And I mean, I don't know what the legal requirements are. I'm sure it's got to be disposed of in an environmentally friendly manner.
Yeah.
So someone comes around to take it, but obviously, I mean, if they burn it in this, problem solved. It probably saved them money.
Well, Kygoona's charging $50 per charge flat fee, which a few people grizzle about, but if you're out there and you want to charge... And
well, they've got the cost of the chip oil. Oh, no, they haven't.
Well, the thing is, the waste oil is earning them $3 a litre. That's what they're getting.
That's basically, if they charge $50, they're getting $3 a litre for waste oil instead of paying somebody to take it away.
Yeah, so it makes commercial sense. And
and I suppose they're quite happy with that.
Yeah,
and they're open 24/7 there?
The thing, no, they run hours at Kygoona.
Right.
But the problem is the amount of money they make just selling diesel is dwarfs.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
So it doesn't get much attention. But for me, originally these things were running on diesel, and it was a pain in the neck having to go and fill up the diesel and then have to charge people, what it costs to buy all the diesel. But with the veg oil, it doesn't cost anything.
So how much does it actually cost if you're running chip oil, but to put a kilowatt hour into your battery? If you were using diesel, how many litres of diesel?
You're going to ask me to do this calculation on the
I
fly,
am,
Nigel.
sorry. We didn't plan this.
Well, roughly you get 3 kilowatt hours per litre of diesel, right?
3 kilowatt hours per litre. Now, a litre of diesel
$2.40
is out on the Nullarbor. Yeah. It ain't cheap.
Well, there you go. That's 80 cents straight away. You're going to have to pay if you're burning diesel.
Yeah.
Because 3 kilowatt hours into $2.40 is 80 cents.
But I mean, if they top up and put 30 kilowatt hours into their battery, then that's $24 worth, 10 lots of 3. Kygoona isn't doing too bad, is it? No. Even if you had to put diesel in, it would be getting a lot better price on the diesel than they do from the truckies. Yeah, so it just makes a whole lot of sense. And this exercise started down at Arthur River, which is halfway to Albany, right? Yes, that's right. The first one went into Arthur River, didn't it? I put it in Arthur River and originally it was on diesel, and I was charging 90 cents a unit, and everyone was complaining and grizzling, but 90 cents per kilowatt hour. Yeah. I mean, when you consider that, even Amp Charge and BP Pulse are charging 65 cents. Yeah. It's because it was on diesel, because 80 cents of that's diesel. So there's 10 cents for me and 80 cents for the fuel, plus running down backwards and forwards to fill the thing up. Yeah, we're not making any money. And then we spotted these tanks of veg oil around the back, thousands and thousands of litres of it there. So that's how. That's where you got the idea from? Pretty much stemmed from that, yeah. And have continued with it. We went up to Jurien Bay and we had one running on veg oil there. I used that several times when I went up to Geraldton and back. There you go. You had to go in and ask the guys to come and turn it on. That's right. Which they were happy to do. And then ask them to turn it off and go in and pay. Yeah. But I mean, it was great because there was nothing else there. Yeah. But it's interesting. Some people really had a problem with that there was nothing else available. And in the end, he was charging, I can't remember what it was. And people... I think at the beginning, he was charging on a per kilowatt hour basis on your sort of honesty. Yeah. I don't know if he had a meter on there, but I went in and he says, well, I go, I've stuck in 25 kilowatts. And he goes, okay, that's $20 or whatever it was. Yeah. He was doing that to start with, but then... Then he had a flat rate. Yeah, well, the flat rate came in because he got called one morning really early, 5:30, can you come and start the charger? So we went out there, opened up the shop, got the charger going, and as he was walking back in, the bloke following him back in and said, I'll put 3 kilowatt hours in. And unfortunately, there are some numbnuts around that will abuse the system. Anyway, so Wade said, fuck it, if I'm going to
excuse the French, if I'm going to be woken up and called out to do that, I want a call-out fee. So he said, I'm going to have a flat rate. And then it just went downhill from there. But it did its job.
It did its job. It helped people get to Geraldton and what have you. And now the state government have put in.
Well, it helped people get to Geraldton, but it also created more traffic. So that's the justification. You know, if the government's not going to put anything in, if nobody's going to use it. But if you say, well, you know what, there's bloody 6 EVs a week going through here, plug share, you can see it on plug share, then you got.
That's another reason for using plug share.
Absolutely, helps with the statistics.
Yes.
And the more use these things are getting, the more money will get allocated to.
And I'm sure people like Tesla and their superchargers are probably looking at plug share if they've got any sense, and will go, geez, that place is busy. Yeah. We should put one of ours in there.
Exactly. Yeah. Definitely use plug share, and that it helps immensely for other users and other people looking to invest in chargers, and that's what we want.
I mean, although it did go downhill when he started to charge a very large flat fee, I forget what it was, $30 or $50, people did start bitching, but he was making money not only on that, but on people going in and buying coffees and hot dogs and chips and what have you. Yeah. I mean, when I went there, I knew it would be at least an hour, so my wife and I walked off and went and got some coffee and what have you and used the toilets. And,
no, it did its job, and Arthur River did its job, and then charges got put in, and the Kaiguna's doing its job. It's creating traffic. And
it's creating an income for them. Okay, they're not making a huge amount out of it, but it's all, you know.
Well, and the other thing it's done is it's changed the attitude of roadhouses out there quite noticeably. When I first put it there, they didn't want to know about it, and then it created income for them as well as business in the shop and all the rest of it. And when it wasn't working, if something was wrong with it, the people would come in and say, well, when are you going to get it fixed? And the manager out there, you know, when I go out there, which I am tomorrow actually to do some work on it.
All the way out to Kaiguna?
Yeah, driving out there tomorrow.
It's not a short trip.
1,000 kilometres.
Yeah.
Well, I might not get there. I might stop at Balladonia or Norseman, but I'll be there for Friday. I've got a problem with the charger there. But now when I go out there, the guy that manages Kaiguna says, John, free room, free meals, whatever you want, just keep that thing going out there. So it's changed.
So he's got on board.
He's on board. Yeah.
And maybe he will then tell the other roadhouses what a good deal it can be.
Yeah, so anyway, Horizon should be putting these chargers out across their 4 stations. Supposed to be by the end of the year, but hopefully early in the new year.
Yeah, I think Horizon, because it got added in 4 things across the Nullarbor, they got another 3 months grace to do them all, I believe. So maybe March, April, they've got to complete them all.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. That'll be great once those get put in. Mind you, they're only 50 kilowatts, so slow going with the truck.
Yeah, but you see, for somebody like me, I've only got 60 kilowatt hours in my Tesla. So, an hour and a half. I need the stop anyway to stretch my legs, have a comfort break, as they say. I usually want a coffee or something to eat because I've got a big belly and, you know, I've got a figure to maintain.
Too much information.
I need the chippies. And I will help, you know, make more chip oil for them.
Right. So, excellent.
Look, I think this is brilliant. So this was your first with the. You started off with diesel and then realised that you could filter chip oil and
a couple
use
other
it.
first. I first to drive a BMW i3 across the Nullarbor.
An i3.
Yeah.
It's
a
little electric car.
Little
with
BMW.
With a range of
about 180
down the end of the yard and back.
Yeah, so that was actually, that trip was one of the things that got me going. I think I was at the border village, Around the back, anybody familiar with that charging point there? Ava put in a socket around the back next to the power station.
I remember reading about that.
Some little bloody workshop shed, and I was plugged into that, and it was at a very busy time in the morning, and there wasn't enough power, and every time I tried to get the charger going, it wouldn't. It kept dropping out, had to lower it, got down to about 10 kilowatts, started charging, so I went inside to have breakfast, and then came back out, it had stopped charging, and you know what, these Roadhouse, the power is so dirty. One phase is on the caravan park, one phase is on the pumps, one phase is on something else, and these DC chargers like to have
3 phases, nice and equal.
Reasonably equal, right? So I thought, you know what you need is a generator and a charger standalone, separate from the power, from the Roadhouse power, and that's how this original concept started.
So,
and
that was another first, driving a BMW i3 across the Nullarbor.
Yeah.
And
the veg oil charger.
Yeah. So you need to have a lot of medals.
Well, it's not. It's just even to give the naysayers some food, like the article that got written up in the Driven. There's a bunch of people. It's 26 days. Geez, in the real world, you'd be 17 days late, right? And these sort of things. But you know what? At least they're reading it. They're reading about it.
But I get comments on my YouTube videos of people going, "Well, I need 1,000-kilometre range." That may be once or twice a year. You want to go bush and camp and come back. Now, an EV doesn't have 1,000-kilometre range. Maybe for that time. Or I'm towing my 3.5-ton caravan around Australia once a year. Well, what I say is, you can buy an EV, and then for those odd occasions, go and hire a blooming V8 Land Cruiser.
Yeah, exactly.
For the 2 weeks that you need it. Yeah. I mean, one of my neighbours has got and he probably watches this. No, it's not you, it's all right, somebody else. He's got a V8 Land Cruiser that he tows his caravan with at school holidays. Yeah. In the meantime, he drives it down to the shops and to do things.
Crazy.
Yeah, and to me, that's crazy. Okay, he bought it second hand. It was an $150,000 new V8 Sahara, but you could get yourself a little GWM or MG4 for 30 grand new, because that's what they're selling them for at the moment.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Fantastic.
You can even get a 2020 Model 3 Tesla for about 35,000.
Bloody good. It's good the price are coming down.
Yeah, well, that's the second-hand ones.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at them this morning. So you could do that. To me, that makes sense. Yeah. I've got a Model Y, and it won't tow more than 1,600 kilos. So if I wanted to tow something, I'd just go and hire a car that could do it.
Yeah.
For the week or two that I might need it. Yeah. But people don't think like that. No. They think, I need that, so I'm going to buy that.
I've got to have that thing.
Yeah. But in the meantime, we've got these wonderful chip oil chargers dotted around the country. There's only a couple of them at the moment, but there were a few before. And look, it's a stopgap.
Yeah.
Until someone gets a decent solar-powered system or what.
I must say the battery solar systems that Horizon have put in that are working are fantastic.
Yes.
So there's a couple there near Broome, just commissioned, that we went to, and brilliant. Just plug in.
They've got batteries. They've even got a diesel generator as backup, haven't they?
Yeah. So that'll if the battery gets too low, that'll cut in and it'll.
How big's the battery that they put on there?
Some cabinets there, like it's,
Yeah, no, it's 40, 50,
they're
60
more than that.
kilowatt.
I think I heard 140, I did hear, and I have heard 70, so
okay, so maybe 70, maybe 140 kilowatt hours, but a 70 kilowatt hour battery, solar panels.
Yeah, that's right.
You're going to charge at least 2 EVs
Yeah.
running through.
And I think there's 50 kilowatts of solar. So,
Well, blimey, you could charge off that, couldn't you? Just don't come in the middle of the night.
Yeah, in the middle of the day, the batteries doesn't need to do anything, right? But so you basically can charge any time during the day, and then you get 1 or 2 charges at night out of the.
It's just. It's a very sensible system for Australia.
Oh, yeah.
In the middle of London, you wouldn't need it.
No, that's right.
Because they've got a lot of things, and they're all very close together. But here, you can drive for hours and not see anything.
Yeah.
Apart from kangaroos.
Well, that was the other thing with the truck trip. I hit a kangaroo near Streaky Bay.
Right. Well, look. Good. Appreciate your time, John.
Yeah,
thank you so much for being the first to do chip oil chargers, the first to drive a BMW i3 across the Nullarbor, the first to drive an electric truck around Australia.
Yeah, fantastic.
Just wonderful. I'd like to come back next year to interview you for your next first.
Okay.
Whatever that's going to be.
Still working on that. No, that's good, Nigel.
Thank you so much, John. Really appreciate your time.
Very good. Thank you also.
There you have it. Jon Edwards. I mean, this guy is just phenomenal. I mean, he drove the first electric truck around Australia. He drove the first BMW i3 across the Nullarbor, and he developed the Biofill EV charging item that uses waste chip oil that would normally be buried in a hole in the ground out on these roadhouses, or I don't know, maybe they pour it into the water. It's just no good. This way, it gets burnt and is useful at charging EVs. What do you reckon? Let me know in the comment below. And whilst you're down there, don't forget, there's that like and subscribe button. Thank you very much. And also in the description, there's my Tesla referral. You get $700 off in Australia. And also my Ko-fi page for those of you that would like to help out there. Thank you so much. And I'll see you all very soon.